Hello, everyone. I'm very pleased to welcome all of you today, and we would like to thank you for taking the time to know a little bit more about DemandSens and our new partnership with MediaControl. Before getting into the crux of this presentation, let me introduce your speakers. First, I am very honored to have Dennis with us today. Hello, Dennis, and thank you for sharing the floor today. Dennis is actually driving the books and market research business at MediaControl in Germany. And Dennis will have the opportunity to share more about MediaControl. We have also Mahe. Hello, Mahe. And in a nutshell, Mahe is leading the AI and machine learning research and development for DemandSens. And I'm Mark, partner at BearingPoint in charge of our product business unit, and more specifically, our DemandSens software as a service. Really few words about who we are for those who might know already us. BearingPoint is a management consulting firm with European roots and a global reach worldwide. With about 6,000 people based in 24 countries, we've made for the first time 1 billion last year. But we are more than this. We are also a software company embodied by a specific business unit named product. And in that perspective, we design, we develop, and we maintain innovative AI and data-driven software. Part of our portfolio, we develop DemandSens, which is quite already well established on the French market in both press and book industries. More recently, we have partnered with MediaControl in order to design innovative data-driven services for book German-speaking market. Dennis, I'll let you share a few words about MediaControl and Metis.
Thank you, Mark, for the kind introduction. I'm really delighted to be here today. So our work at MediaControl can essentially be summarized as follows. So we collect data and we cover two main areas. One of them is the market research. So through our point of sale panel, publishers, retailers, and even book associations like the German or the Austrians, for example, can regularly analyze how the overall market is developing. This includes comparisons to previous years and trends within specific segments like fiction or non-fiction or children books or whatever, and also formats like a hardcover, paperback, or audiobooks. So on the other hand, we have the bestseller lists. All the well-known bestseller lists are created using our MediaControl database, meaning the process is simple. We apply filters such as, for example, top 20 hardcover fiction, and then the sales are then ranked and evaluated and curated based on the numbers of units sold. So basically, we receive daily data from over 9,000 point of sales, like you can see in the slide. This includes independent bookstores, book chains, and also e-commerce platforms. And we got a coverage from nearly 90%. So, for example, when you purchase a book in a bookstore today, the sale will appear in our database the next day. So these are the two main areas for market research and also bestseller lists. But so much for the general information regarding MediaControl. Later, we will go into more information about the product and AI. But back to you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dennis. As an agenda, we propose you to go through the following topics during this session. So we're going to start with a few words about DemandSens to let you have a better understanding of the product value proposition and core features. Then we will share with you what we are currently building up with MediaControl and Dennis. Maha will afterwards showcase DemandSens via a demo before getting to the conclusion of this session. Naturally, you can ask any question at any time into the chat that we will tackle during the Q&A session. So let's talk about DemandSens. To make a long story short, and leveraging our successful product design for the press publishing industry, we had a few years ago investing into a specific product addressing the book distribution challenges. As a starting point, a major player on the French market named MediaControl was the very first to move, aiming at strengthening its retail planning activities in order to impact positively its productivity and bottom line. What are the business challenges we want to address? As you all know, demand and allocation planning are definitely challenging, and even more in the book industry. We are talking about prototypic product distributed in diverse and very dense distribution network. In most of the situations that we have observed is that the operational processes were really time-consuming, quite poorly equipped in terms of tools or solutions. Considering the sustainability and profitability challenges, this is exactly where DemandSens comes into play, with a book industry-specific and AI-driven approach. But let's be a little bit more specific. The promise at the core of the product is all about making sure that the right product will be available in the right quantity, in the right places, and almost at the right time. So concretely, a legit question would be, what can DemandSens do for me? Actually, there are today 3 modules available into the DemandSens platform. One is dealing with retail planning activities, a second one focusing on print and sales forecasting, and the third aiming at streamlining the budget planning exercise. For the first module, as I said, is dealing with retail planning issues. Here, the question is about defining the most relevant sales objectives for any given book, but also allocate those objectives per point of sales for any sales representatives and retail channel. For that purpose, DemandSens is proposing an extensive set of methods that you can easily configure and that will allow you to very quickly proceed to those heavy and very tricky computations. Of course, you can then check, adjust, simulate different options before sending automatically those objectives to the sales representatives desktops. These retail planning modules will also help you secure your prospections activities. DemandSens will support you in monitoring closely how your prospection is progressing on a daily basis. You will get an overall progress status, but also the ability to dig into details and investigate what's going on typically for, let's say, a specific book in a given retail channel. It provides also with a constantly re-estimated quantities that needs to be shipped for the launch date. The second module is designed to support the decision-making process when time has come to decide your print run. This is mostly a publisher or controlling concern. And here DemandSens is providing you with the right estimates about the numbers of copies that should be printed to secure the sales over a predefined period of time and also a specified level of security stock. You can configure whatever you want for any type of product, and then the machine will help you to rightly assess the numbers of copies that you should print. Last but not least, DemandSens propose a financial budget planning module. We know it's a really tough work for distributors dealing with dozens or even hundreds of publishers. And we have therefore designed it to make it simpler and way more reliable. As an example, MediaControl, distributing more than 100 publishers over 4 countries, has entirely planned 2025 with DemandSens. So Maha will let you have a flavor of the product in the upcoming demo. But before that, let's talk about our partnership with MediaControl. So Dennis, can you share with us the ambition and status of this joint initiative?
Sure. Thank you, Mark, again. So as I mentioned, we also cover market research, which is one of the main areas among other. But until now, our analyses have been based either on past data or present when using daily data. But the question remains: what about the future? So which book will sell well in the coming months or weeks? So this is where our new approach comes into play. And together with my colleagues from BearingPoint and the team of DemandSens, led by Mark and Maha, we have developed an innovative tool that for the first time in the book industry allows sales forecast of books. So with this tool, we can predict how well a book will sell in the future. But we are not only aiming to provide sales forecasts. Our approach also encompasses, and this is so the more modules in this tool, like comparable recommendation, meaning suggesting similar books for comparison and analysis. Also allocation planning, meaning optimizing the distribution of inventory across different sales channels. Print run forecasting, here on the right side of the slide, meaning ensuring optimal print runs to avoid overproduction or stock shortages. And last but not least, replenishment alerting, meaning proactively informing the user, the publisher, when stock needs to be replenished. So these forecasts and additional features not only help optimize print runs and reduce returnings, but also contribute to environmental sustainability and operational efficiency across the supply chain. So this is what the message, the meaning is of the ideas behind the whole project. And on the next slide, actually, we wanted to dive deeper into the first use case, meaning the sales forecasting. So with our newly developed MC Metis 2.0 platform, users can log in and search for any title, whether it is from their own publishing company or competitors. So there are no filters to initiate a forecast. And within just a second, over 5 billion data points are analyzed, and the sales forecasts for the next 3, 6, and 12 weeks are immediately displayed. And of course, it is also possible to analyze entire collections. For example, a publisher's spring 2025 program, for example. So there are no limits to get this kind of analysis for the 3, 6, and 12 weeks. And in addition to all the sales forecasts, we provide the confidence score. And the confidence score is also calculated and communicated. And the score should not be confused with accuracy rating, but rather provides an indication of how reliable the underlying data, such as the author. Is it a well-known author, for example, or a newcomer, the publishing or the publishing group, the genre, etc. So this is the meaning of the confidence score for this particular forecast. So this is so much for the output which will come in MC Metis 2.0. But Mark will now explain in more detail which data is used and how the magic behind the scenes happen.
Thank you very much, Dennis. So effectively, maybe lifting up a little bit the hood. So as an input, we're ingesting all the information actually that MediaControl is gathering and structuring about the entire market portfolio. That covers naturally the key characteristics, the author, the publishers, different dates, title, but also the format or even the classification, the content descriptions with the keywords, etc., but also the pricing, and of course, the weekly sellout figures, which are produced by MediaControl as indicated by Dennis. Then all this data is feeding DemandSens platform, where it is cleaned, structured, merged, and even enriched by combining those data. And then the DemandSens engine is running. And to make it simple, it looks like a 3 main step process. For any new book, there will be an automatic detection of comparables, meaning let's say the most similar or books already published. Then will come a classification step in order to allocate the new book to the right category and level of sales. And finally, a regression is applied to compute the most likely range of sales for any new upcoming book. Well, I hope that you have a better vision on scope and value proposition of DemandSens and even the partnership with MediaControl. So Maha, the floor is yours now, and please let's have a tour into DemandSens.
Thank you, Mark. So hello, everyone. I'll be giving you a quick overview on our platform DemandSens with its different modules. So DemandSens Books is an AI-driven solution that simplifies and makes reliable and accelerates the novelties distribution processes. Through its values and complete modules that we can see here on the left part, the application supports the publishers from the target launch definition, its allocation to every point of sales of the sales of the sales network, to this prospection phase, the print run definition.
Sorry to interrupt you. Are you sure you're sharing your screen?
Yeah. Yes, I will retry again.
We can see the screen.
Oh, okay, sorry for that.
As I said, it contains several and complete modules from the target launch definition to the print run prediction and the budget management. DemandSens is a highly configurable tool. The publishers usually handle thousands and thousands of products each year, and also thousands and thousands of clients. So it's not a very easy daily task. So DemandSens offers the possibility to configure some default rules to see also the networks that they are handling through those administration modules. For instance, here we have a customer rules page where we can see all the clients to whom we'll be distributing the novelties and allocate to each client a network, which is a grouping of clients like libraries, hypermarkets, etc. We have also a point of sales allocation rule where you can set for each publisher, division, collection, so the editorial pyramid, a rule, an allocation rule saying for that one I want to be based on the whole publisher data. For the other one, I want to be based only on the collection data. Choose also the historical depth to consider, and many more parameters like the markets also to distribute to. We have also a users handling page. We have also a print run rules page, and we have a flow management to follow the input and output data that will populate the DemandSens database. Fortunately, we won't have the time today to tackle all the administration pages, but if you want a more detailed demonstration, we can do it in a further time. Let's start by the sales forecasting module with its submodules pre-allocation and point of sales allocation. So the year is split into cycles. You can configure the period you want to cover, but here we have configured the tool to cover up to 2 or 3 months per cycle. For instance, I will click on the first cycle of 2025. And here I can see that I have in total 1,097 items to be released during January and February 2025. What we display in that tremendous grid is all the items to be released during that period, one per line. And then for each item, for each product, we display its information like the author, the product type, the price, the release date. We have also a notes zone to freely type some comments during meetings, for instance. We have also the allocation rule that is set either by default through the rules that the pre-configured rules, or the user can modify them directly per item. What we display also in that page is the target, the distribution target in a total and then split per market once the allocation is launched. The editorial classification, the publisher, the division, the collection, the series, if it exists. And then on the right part, we display the lookalikes or the comparable items. So to give a relevant quantity and a relevant distribution, the choice of the comparable items is very important. That's why we offer to the user that module of lookalike research or comparable items research. The user have access to a tremendous choice, all of the items available in our database. Either you can select a lookalike belonging to the same collection or written by the same author using those filters that we offer here. Or you can click on that button to enable our recommendation algorithm, which provides the the closest comparable items depending on their information. For instance, I'll be looking for an item called 7 Stories to Sleep. It's a book for kids, and I'll be trying to select one comparable item based on our recommendation algorithm that computes proximity scores based on keywords, summary, and every single information provided to the item, the novelty, and to its comparable potential items. So here the table was sorted, displaying the closest comparable items. I will select the first one. And once it is selected, I have access to its historical sheets. So I have here all the flow data, meaning the sent quantities, the returned quantities, and the net sales quantities for that comparable item that I have selected. I have the quantities in total per market and also per network here. So in France, I have the hypermarkets, the libraries, the e-commerce, etc., etc., and I can see all the distributed and returned and the net sales quantities in total and per market and per network. If it is okay, I can save it. Otherwise, I can choose to select another comparable item, and I can select up to 3 comparable items or lookalikes per product in DemandSens. So once all of this information is set, I can launch the calculation and get the distribution of that quantity among the several markets that I can configure, and also the networks of my book. Here I have already launched the calculation, and it have given me a first proposition of distribution. I have chosen to do the allocation based on the selected lookalike, say net sales. It gives me that result of the allocation. I can easily choose to modify the allocation rule and relaunch the calculation and obtain a new result that I can adjust through that manual input column. I will wait a few seconds so that the computation is over, and then I can open and say for that supermarket I want to set 400 copies instead of 390 copies. So the manual inputs are really easy to do, and you can do it based on the lookalike information that we display here on the right part of the grid. So we display per market, per network, level 1 and 2, because we have 2 levels, the launch quantities, the pushed quantities, the returned quantities, the return rate over several periods, up to date or 12 months or 3 months after the release of the product. And based on these information, the user can adjust very easily the manual input. And of course, the total quantity will be refreshed when the user types any manual information. So in the pre-allocation step, the result is for each item of my cycle, I have a target quantity per market, per network, level 1 and 2. In the point of sales allocation step, I will do the same thing, but that time I will go to the client's level. So I will go a step deeper, and inside one network, I want to see what are the quantities to be distributed to my thousands and thousands of the clients. So this is for the sales forecasting module. Now, just a quick remark. Please note that DemandSens is fully configurable. Each user can choose the information that he wants to display amongst the different columns available. Also, he can choose the order, hide some columns, display some columns, and then save the configuration. And each one the user is connected to the session, it will display the same grid. Also, many users can share the same view and work in a collaborative way on the same screens. And the last remark is that DemandSens have different users profiles. So ones are read-only profiles, ones are admin profiles, and the others have several restrictions on several pages. Now, once the target quantity is set, the agents can start collecting the orders from the libraries, do the visits to the different hypermarkets, etc. And all of these orders are collected and populates the prospection module. You can either load the orders for some brands, usually big hypermarkets, and load them directly through DemandSens, through that page. You choose the cycle, you choose the name of the brand, and then you select the file. Or we can activate the automatic integration of the orders on a daily basis. All of these data come to populate the detailed and summarized views of the prospection. So the collected orders are compared to the initial target quantity set in the sales forecasting module to give that view, which displays again the all of the items to be released on that cycle, on the selected cycle. And then, of course, we display some of the book's information. And then what is more important is that we display the target quantity set and compared to the final trend. The final trend is computed based on the orders either loaded through that page or integrated through our ETL on a daily basis. The computation of the trend is done on a daily basis also, and then we compare the trend to the target quantity, and we can follow also on a weekly basis the advancement of the prospection phase, where we start and where we end. So the next module is the print run handling one. Again, we can configure the cycles during the period that the users want. I will go on the current cycle, which is October-December 2024, and I can also again see the items that will be released during that cycle are currently released. We have a module to make books printing very easy tasks. New books have only few data available, like initially the author, the volume, the type, the release dates, the price also, and we have also the editorial pyramid, like the publisher, the collection, and the series. And then the publisher will enrich gradually the information, adding relevant keywords, adding summary, adding also a cover, potentially. All of these data is taken into account to provide the user with an estimation of the expected demand, to which we add a small stock to define the print run quantity to print. So here we provide the target, an initial estimation of the print run based on the first information that we have, that we refresh each time we have a new information. And then we have another scenario that includes the target quantity that we have set already in the sales forecasting module. And then the user can choose between the two scenarios, the selected one, to be sent to be printed. The user also can have the possibility to choose a lookalike through the same module of lookalike selection, and also the option of activating our recommendation algorithm is available in that module. I will choose a product to give you, for instance, that one, Valentina. Valentina is an item that will be soon released on 5th of October 2024. We have here the information available of that product, its code, its author, price. We have also a summary and some few keywords also that are available. On the right part are the lookalikes, the comparable items automatically selected by DemandSens engine. So here it is an easy case where it is a series of 4 volumes, and the algorithm naturally have selected the first 3 volumes as referent, as comparable items. The user can manually select other items, other comparable items that are potentially more relevant than the ones computed automatically by the model. So those ones, the manually selected ones, are have a higher priority than the automatically selected ones. If the user chooses to keep the automatically, he cannot. He can not select anyone. And then launch the forecast. It will give the user the sales target quantity. In that case, 1,200 copies. Another estimation is reviewed once the sales forecast, once the target launch quantity is set. So we give the second scenario of the print run. And then, of course, the user will be able to select between both scenarios the quantity to be printed. The last module is a budget management module that enables users to propose the next year's planning. Here we have, for instance, the 2025 budget with the number of publishers in scope, the number of products, and the total quantities to be set. So the user can prepare the next year's planning. So what are the new books to be released during 2025? And what are the books already released but remaining in sales during 2025? For each book, an estimation of the back and forth flow should be set. And here we have a view per publisher group, and then inside the publisher group we have the publishers, and we can click on one publisher to see what are the items to be released during 2025 or already released but remaining in sales during the next year. Again, approximately the same grid. With per line we have an item, and then we have several columns displaying its information. The user can then set the quantities, the target launch, the restocking, the returned quantities, and the net sales. if the user can set very few information and then select the items and launch the first action, which is computing the missing flow. So our engine can give an estimation of the return rate, of the net sales or returned quantities to fill the missing information for the budget of 2025. Then the user can also select some items and launch the ventilation, the market breakdown, which will distribute those set quantities of target quantity, restocking, returned ones per market. So here we have 6 configured markets, and we have here the result of the computation per each market. There is several parameters that the user can play with and relaunch the computation, like the allocation mode, whether to choose the publisher scope or the collection scope or one lookalike scope as historical data to be based on to do the allocation. We give also access to the same lookalike research module with the same recommendation algorithm. And once the action is launched, once the breakdown is done, DemandSens provides as I said, the allocation per market in quantities, but also does the valorization, means what are the traduction, the equivalent of those quantities in euro. Here we have in euro because it is the currency set actually in DemandSens, but we can change it. So we have the volume view, so the quantities, but we have also the value view, so the amounts in euros of that quantities. Another option in DemandSens is that we provide in the budget management tool the publisher versus the diffusion tool. So the publishers can set their own quantities, the diffusion team can set their own quantities, and in that view we can compare both. You can have the same view or you can have slightly different quantities and export the total in Excel files. Another option is available in the simulation module. The publisher can say, what if I can raise for the publisher Ankama, for the division BD, and for the collection Étincelle. What if I higher my net sales by 20%? How will this impact my budget? I can add the rule, select it, and do the simulation. In the previous pages, I can see the impact of that rule, meaning 20% plus of my net sales of that specific collection on my global budget. If it is okay, I can keep the rule. Otherwise, I can deactivate it. So that was a quick overview on the different modules that we have in DemandSens. As I said, if you want a more detailed one, do not hesitate to contact us. I hope that it was clear, and I will give the floor again to you, Mark.
Well, thank you very much, Mai. I will also try to, I hope you can see my screen then. Yeah, so I hope you have enjoyed this this DemandSens demo. Maybe as a wrap up, I just wanted to complete this presentation with some additional insight. One legged question would be typically, what are the business benefits in terms of using a solution such as DemandSens? The first point is that DemandSens directly help enhance productivity in terms of robotic digitization, and speeding up the process of critical sales and distribution processes. It also helps and contributes to increase the direct margin, as it helps lower distributed quantities and limit shortages, and directly reduce the cost to operate. And last but not least, but there is also, as Dennis mentioned, a contribution to the CSR policy in terms of reducing the impact on natural resources. Also, in the previous sections, we have gone through the different use cases covered by the solution by DemandSens. Here you can see a different way to map them along the book life cycle. What you can see in purple is the different, let's say, features covered by the retail planning module. In light blue, with the print and sales run forecasting module. And in dark gray, this is what we are currently developing. So what you can see is, depending on where you are along this life cycle, in the very early stage, even before the prospection are started, you can ask DemandSens to help you on a daily basis in terms of defining the right targets, in terms of sales objectives, and allocate them. You can ask for supporting the identification of the right comparable, the right lookalike. And also, even if all the information is not already available, to ask for what would be the best estimate in terms of print run quantity. During the prospection, DemandSens will constantly support and help in refining this quantity that needs absolutely to be available on the launch date. But also, as the information is constantly refined and enriched, but also with the pre-orders coming back from the different point of sales and distribution network, the print run quantities is also constantly re-estimated, as just demonstrated. And after that, once the product has been launched, has been released, once the book is already available, then the question will be, based on the actual sales trends, how can I anticipate the evolutions in terms of sales? But also, one quick question, absolutely critical, about when should I take the decision of reprint and how many copies should I reprint? And this is exactly where DemandSens is aiming at supporting the operational teams in their daily activity. Just also as a wrap up, and that's going to be the last slide actually of this presentation, but you may ask about in which way, in which dimension would we pretend that DemandSens could be considered as unique? We are investing a lot and putting a lot of effort in terms of data processing, data enrichment, and the way we could apply what we are considering as state-of-the-art in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and actually extracting the maximum value of the available data. The second, from our perspective, which is absolutely critical, is that anything we are doing is absolutely done in a way that it fits the book industry specific requirements. So that's completely different in terms of approach than if you would like to leverage existing and off-the-shelf, let's say, solutions that are addressing, let's say, retail segments. We are also emphasizing and paying a lot of attention working with end users in terms of simplicity, ergonomy, to make the product really time responsive and really user friendly. And then also in terms of architecture, we are making sure that anything we are doing can evolve quickly and be always ready for evolution. Well, that was for what we wanted to share with you about DemandSens. let's see if we have some question. I've seen during your presentation, Mahed, that we had one question regarding the lookalike, the recommendation engine.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we can share with you
Yeah.
some additional insight about that. So I can share with you maybe this one. Yeah. So the way what you can see here is typically when the question is about typically defining and assessing the potential, and at the end of the day, the right quantities that will need to be printed. In the middle of this, you see the book that you are addressing, the ones that you are asking what would be the right print run. So the book is not already existing. You may have already at least part of the information available. On the right side, what you have is typically the set of data that we absolutely need to get, or absolutely, I mean, ideally need to get. And even if there are not all of them available, then the engine will cope with this possibly missing information. And what the engine will try to do is, based on those information, which can be actually, these are the key characteristics, the master data of the book, but also that can be structured data, but also unstructured data, meaning the summary, the keywords, the biography of the author, and on top of that, naturally, the classification, etc. And based on all of those information that can be attached to any given book, the idea is to compute a kind of distance of similarity index between this new book that you are working on and the rest of the existing portfolio. So at the national level, that can stand for even millions of books, or as a distributor, that can be computed on your own existing portfolio. And based on that, it's a kind of recommendation engine that we find those days, where based on the content and in its descriptions, then you are able to find the links between different items across a set of, in that case, of content. And this is actually the way DemandSens is working. And as the different comparables are already published, then we also everything about those previous items in terms of sales and quantity that has been distributed and sold. So yeah, this is about the overall way the engine is working.
Mm-hmm. Maybe as a complementary question, another one is concerning the keywords. What are the keywords that the algorithm uses to find the comparables, if it is by reading the text of the book or in any other manual way? So sometimes the publishers type some keywords, but we cannot trust how relevant those keywords are, because we have found many bad examples, like just book in the keywords. So we put into place an algorithm of extracting keywords, machine learning algorithm to extract some keywords. We do not do that based on the whole text of the book, but on any other summarized text that it is provided, like the summary of the book, the biography of the author, the editorial pyramid, etc., etc. So we get the keywords of the publisher if it exists, and we extract some other keywords based on the summary that we have of the item.
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. And actually, there is no specific technical constraint about the size typically of the input in terms of summary. So that can be, I would say that the bigger it is and the better it would be in terms of ability to extract the right keywords. As of right now, we haven't been in a situation where any kind of summary would not exist. So This is actually what we are leveraging as an input. If there is no pre-existing kind of summary, which would be kind of surprising, but there are actually tons of tools that we are using in other contexts, such as LLM, and I guess everyone is already pretty much aware now about the capabilities of tools such as ChatGPT and its own diverse version. And so that we can also, if need be, and if it would be necessary, to come from a raw input, which would be the extensive form, into a summary, and even at the end of the day, the extraction of the right keywords that would be very useful then to compute and to assess the, let's say, this similarity index, sorry, as we call it, which is very close to this notion of look-alikeness between a set of products, a set of books. There is maybe a question about the overall architecture. I can share that maybe this slide with you, which is, I won't get into very much detail and don't want to be too techy today, but just to let you know that the platform is naturally fed with the different type of data that we have already mentioned. And it comes from the left side, what we used to call the PIM, which is actually the Product Information Management System, basically where you are storing all the information attached to all your book portfolio in terms of title, collection, publishers, etc. Then we are leveraging data in terms of CRM, if any. So actually, we need some information about the retail channel and where they're located, the different type, etc. And also what we could call the transactional source of data. And that can be internal one with the different quantities that are shipped to the different point of sales, but also retail. And that could be, this is what we call here the market. These are the sellout, so the quantity that are sold into those point of sale directly to the customers. So the market data are typically the ones produced by MediaControl, and internal data, which are mostly the sell-in, the quantities coming from the publisher of the distributors towards the different point of sales. And depending on the use case that we want to address, one or another will be required to get the right level of input and then proceed to the different features and modules. If we're talking about specifically the retail planning, also we need to be connected. We were mentioning, the sales rep desktop. I mean, you may have on the ground teams visiting bookstore point of sales, and there is a kind of, communication between central solutions such as DemandSens and those desktops, because we need to send them the right objectives, and we need to get back how much this bookshop has taken as an objective for this given new book. And that's a way to help the machine to be, as relevant as possible in terms of assessment and forecasting. I don't know if we have another question. I'm not sure. I can see that time is actually running out. So yeah, maybe I would like to thank you, just simply to thank you very much for your interest and for attending this webinar. As Maya mentioned, we would be naturally delighted to continue and to set up, to continue this conversation and to set up ad hoc meeting about your current business requirements, business needs. So you can contact us directly or just find us next week on the fair. We're going to be, as mentioned here, on the hall number 4, on the ground, and booth number G18. So thank you very much for today, and I hope to talk to you sooner, maybe in Frankfurt. Thank you all.
Thank you also from my side as well. And if there are any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you.